Hello, this is Joe Sonona, and this is Coffee Talk with Sonona Speak Seminars. And my guest this week is Alex Winiarski from Coach Realtors. How are you, Alex?
Fantastic, Joe. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Great, great. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. We'll get into why it's a pleasure to have you on this show later, but I just wanted to ask you some questions and get right into a little bit of background about yourself. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the business.
Sure. I have a really interesting start in the business, and I feel really blessed to have gotten into the business the way I did. After graduating from SUNY Oneonta in 2016, I wasn't 100% sure where my life was going to take me. I actually majored in criminal justice, and I played soccer up there. And I always kind of had that entrepreneurial itch, and I wasn't quite sure what would scratch that itch and what would kind of get my career rolling and what I wanted to do. So I actually started as an assistant to a broker in Nassau County in Rockville Center, and I went to him unlicensed. I ended up getting my license in my first 6 months there, and I ended up being his primary assistant for a few years, actually 2 to 3 years. After not really using my license other than as an assistant to a top broker, I reached out to Brian Karp, who was a top agent in Suffolk County, and he had put something on Instagram saying that he was looking to build out a team. So I sent him a quick message on Instagram. I met him in his office later that week, and the rest is history.
And what a great inspiration and a great mentor you have and a great team leader you have. Brian Karp was interviewed here on Coffee Talk and continues to be a very, very good friend and mentor to me as well. So welcome to the show. Let me get right into the first question. And what is your secret sauce to listing real estate the way you do? We found you on Instagram. That's how I found you.
I think Instagram is huge. Instagram, Facebook, social media these days is absolutely massive. Having an influence on different social platforms is huge because when you introduce yourself or when people look you up online, the first thing they do these days is they Google you or they go to Facebook or Instagram or YouTube and they look for what you've been doing. So I think being able to post your successes, your failures, what you like doing in your personal life on your social page, I think is huge. And I think the real social secret sauce is just to be yourself and to let people know you for who you are. I'm a little bit more casual. I know Brian likes to wear the suit and tie. I throw on a suit and a button-down shirt. I'm not quite the tie guy, and I don't pretend to be that guy. So when I meet someone in their house, I get to know them as the person that they are, because at the end of the day, whether you're selling a $4 million house or a $150,000 co-op, it's just two people. And I think that's really my secret sauce, is just getting to know people on a personal level and being able to interact with them and kind of learn what makes them tick.
That's awesome. That really is. And do you use your special technology other than Instagram to market and list your homes?
Not really. So we do feed our homes through to every single portal, whether it be Zillow, unfortunately, or the Realtor.coms and all the other sites. I'm a fan of Facebook advertising and Instagram advertising. So boosting the post and picking out the special analytics to get it to the people that you want. For example, marketing properties to maybe Queens or to Brooklyn or to Manhattan if you think the buyer may be coming from those areas, especially these days when you're getting that mass migration of people from the boroughs. So I think that's the main tactic that we like to use. But other than that, there's nothing super out of the ordinary that I like to do technology-wise.
Are you still getting that mass amount of people from the boroughs? Has it slowed down in the last couple of weeks?
I think it slowed down a tad. When COVID first hit, I think everyone on Long Island saw an absolute huge migration. I was reading that the median price from last year in Nassau County went up. I believe it was around 13%, and in Suffolk County it was closer to 16, 17%. And I think that is in part due to just the incredible amount of people that were coming out from the boroughs and just pushing the demand through the roof. So it's been a really amazing time to sell a property. Finding a property to buy has been another story. But I think that has had a huge effect on the market out here.
That is awesome. You have any advice for new people coming into the business, Alex?
My Main advice would be to just act, just do something. I think a lot of people, and I think I've fallen into this myself, we do these mundane tasks like putting a lockbox on a home or putting a rider on a sign. That's not going to bring in new business. That's not acting. Acting is going door knocking, do cold calling, reaching out to your sphere of influence, anything that will bring new business in. Because 90% of the business is prospecting. The other 10% is the fun part where you're showing houses and doing deals. But you're not going to be doing those things if you don't have new business and your pipeline isn't full. So
and learning the systems and doing what I call, you know, a little bit of the heavy lifting in the beginning. That's to me, that's the learning tool right there. And being somebody's either showing assistant or somebody's listing assistant, that is all preparation for what you're doing now. Isn't that correct?
100%. And I was so lucky to have my first few years of experience as an assistant to a top broker, because I was able to see how he got things done, how he was able to make himself so successful, and then take those good habits and bring them over to my own personal business.
That's my mantra in Sonona Speaks. Learn only the good habits.
Exactly.
So you learned a lot of the good habits.
Yep, and then took them over to another fantastic mentor. So I've taken good habits from one top agent, brought them over to another top agent, and hopefully I can create a really fruitful business for myself.
Well, that's good, because your presence on social media is very, very magnetic, and people see it, and it's also inspiring. And a lot of the new agents in the business coming in, they're not fooled by the fantasy television, as I call it.
Yeah, it's super easy on social media to put out this persona of someone you're not. Being on a team, I could always put out Brian Karp's listings, or I could put out coach listings. I really like to focus on my Instagram and my social media on putting out my own listings. So if someone contacts me and asks me a question about a house, I'm really aware of what's going on with that property. I can answer all of their questions, and I like to just be real with it and let people know this is who I am. I don't have 100 listings right now, and I didn't sell 300 homes in 2020. But that's the goal for the future.
But your team leader did. That's
yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, like some people say to me, well, why did you have that guest on the show? And why'd you have that one on the show? I could see that this person deserves to be on your show because he sold 50 or she sold 60 and that one sold 100. You don't have to be a listing pro of selling a considerable amount of listings to be a listing pro. You have to know what you're doing. And since this is a listing tool show, we're here to inspire new agents as well as experienced agents, excuse me, on what to do. So if you had to give some advice to an older agent who's been in the business that long, what would you tell them?
For an older agent, I think a big thing, and I think this is really magnified by COVID, is just the use of technology. I think a lot of older agents back maybe 5-10 years ago, they weren't using the 3D Matterport tours. They weren't using the floor plans that we have access to these days. And that gives everyone such an edge in this market, especially when everything is done on the computer, on your smartphone or on your iPad or on your MacBook.
Do you use Matterport for every house or just some?
Not for every house, but I think for a house that has a unique layout, for a house that has a layout that may appeal to some people and not to other people, it's really important to be able to show that layout to people or show people what they're getting before they actually are physically in the home. And at that point, when they actually see the home in person, it's almost like a second showing for them because they've already walked through it.
Why do you think older agents fear technology?
I think it's scary. I think even for younger agents, when you see new things come out, it's hard to really grasp it, to be able to use it to its full potential. And I think as an older agent, someone that's been doing it the same way for maybe 10 or 15 years, seeing this new kid on the block come around or this new technology on the block, it's not always easy to grasp, and to make sure you're doing it correctly and to make sure the consumers are looking at you doing it correctly. I think when I see something new, I want to make sure I can fully grasp the concept and fully make sure I am using it to its full potential before I do it in public. So I want to make sure I can really show off everyone's best attributes.
That's good, or even showcase, right? Showcase or show off.
Yeah.
So tell me, if I was to give you a choice, and I know they're all important, attributes of fiduciary responsibilities. But if I had to give you a choice between the attributes of fiduciary duties such as old car, obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accountability, reasonable care, and I said pick one, which one would you pick, Alex Winiarski, and why?
That's a good
I know they're all important, but which
all.
one would you pick?
I think that's a good question. Maybe I'd go with obedience. And I think it's super important because your client is also your teammate. I think when you are selling a house for someone, it's easy to see yourself as they've hired you. But I think it's also super important that you're actually on the same team. So I think obedience is super important because you're working together.
That's great. That's great. So do you have any aspirations for any of these awards that these associations give, like the YPN, Young Professionals Network? Because I could see you applying for that this year.
Yeah, I would love to. And I accolades are awesome, but I don't really look towards accolades in my career. I like to plug away, do as many deals and gain as many friends and clients in the business as possible, and then look back at the end of 2021 and say, wow, what a year. And if accolades come my way, I am more than happy to receive them, but I'd prefer to keep my head down, keep my blinders on, and keep plugging along.
Well, I look forward to your many successes, and I wish you well in your endeavors. And I do predict that you would get the top 20 under 40 award for YPN if you applied, because you seem to have a mindset and a work ethic that I just see it on social media, and you're challenging yourself every day. You're waking up, you're showing up, you're getting your listings, and that's exactly what a real estate agent should be doing, and acting in a very professional manner, no matter how you're dressed.
It's an honor, and it's funny because I've known you way longer than you've known me, because I've followed you for quite some time, especially being down in Rockville Center. I know you're down in Long Beach a ton, and Island Park in that area. So we were right around the corner from each other, and I've followed you, and I've always looked up to you and your business.
I envy Brian Karp, and you can tell him I said so, but I wish you a lot of success with him and his team, and you're in good company. And if you ever need anything from this coach to that coach, feel free to always reach out and ask, because that's what we're supposed to be doing in real estate. We're supposed to be collaborating with each other on a very, very higher level, and some of us don't. And I don't understand the broker, the manager mentality anymore. I don't understand the real estate, even colleague mentality that doesn't want to work together.
It makes things so much easier when everyone can work together, because at the end of the day, we want to be at the same place, which is the closing table. So the best way to get there is just to collaborate and work as a team.
Well, I look forward to doing a deal or two with you, and thank you for being on the show. It really meant a lot for you to be here.
It was an honor. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. This is Joe Sonona with Sonona Speak Seminars and Coffee Talk, and my guest this week was Alex Winiarski. And thank you, Alex, for a great interview.
Thank you.
Take care.